call a meeting to order at 5:30 and Azu's here.
Amen.
Ahead of you.
Nobody could see that. Everybody have a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
Have any motions?
Motion, accept the minutes.
Seconded.
All in favor?
6.
Aye.
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 I wasn't
Do we
here.
have any bills?
Yes, we do. We are at the end of the fiscal year, so we're trying to get everything caught up. This is our last meeting.
Message for, the message in Fox was, if you want us to work on this, you gotta either send us an extension
Yeah.
to July 31st. And I told, my message, said what the accountant said,
Okay,
so.
then I'm gonna have them sign both of these, just in case.
Yeah, but there's also,
Did the
send-
accountant say that we could use an extension? Because
yeah, if you don't have an
Told us to
extension,
ask
then
an
you can't,
extension.
yeah. So,
what are we signing anyways?
and then, what about,
$164.
what about, Nova Armstrong? Should I have him?
Yeah, well, that's just it. We should have Nova Armstrong too send a bill, at least, but then everybody's gonna have to come in and sign it before
Yeah.
Okay.
the end of next week. All right, that's supplies, postage,
I don't care,
Dawn,
just,
you just asked what you were signing.
I can read.
One of these is for the end of the year,
Okay,
and this one's gonna be the South Coast Rail, just in case
Okay.
everything comes through, all right?
where did we end up on this? Are we overdrawn? Did we,
We've made it. They'll have extra money,
okay.
which is good.
Okay, Dwayne,
Not
you
on
hear
South
that?
Coast.
Not in South Coast,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
talking the other bill,
Oh,
your
okay.
other bill.
No, I thought you meant South Coast.
No,
Okay.
talking your other bill,
Okay.
because what we requested was a little bit more just in case. That's it for bill, sir.
Do I, going to bring everybody up to date on the South Coast stuff? We don't have the other one. Where's the other? Or
We
do
don't have that one yet, she didn't,
Okay, guys,
Yep. Listen.
there's a possibility that we have to come in at some point next week,
Yeah.
probably towards the end of the week, to sign a bill dealing with, what's the name?
South Coast Road.
the South Coast.
No,
Oh, Nova Armstrong
for Nova Armstrong,
for South Coast.
for the
Assistant.
review of the ANRAD
Okay.
for South Coast Rail. Our problem is that, as it sits right now, that has to be completed by
June 30th.
June 30th. Or else we're supposed to send the money back to the state.
Yeah, part of the grant stuff.
So you need
You have
to-
to
All
start
the grant stuff has been approved, and they said the check is cut.
Yeah. They're waiting,
seen it
they're
yet.
waiting for the financial officer to sign off before they let it go.
Yeah,
But now we're running to the end of the fiscal year, and we're running into asking maybe for an extension, at least for another month.
I mean, that's something we won't have to call a meeting, we can just come in individually and sign.
Well, you can vote to do that.
Okay.
Then you can come individually.
All right.
If you don't vote to do that,
Is there anything, can we just say to come in and sign the bills
Just-
you wanna say specific.
for that bill?
For that bill,
Okay.
a Nova Armstrong bill, not to exceed, I believe $4,000.
Is that all it is?
Yeah, not to exceed.
Not to exceed
Yeah, cause we only hired them for part of the job,
Part of the job.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, what was that last bill we just looked at?
That's for
That was
his.
47, right?
Right,
Yep, right,
So our balance of the 9,
right, so it'll be about $300 left.
so,
okay.
okay.
Okay, I'll make that motion that we
Come
that
in
we come in
individually.
individually to sign the
Nova Armstrong bill,
Nova Armstrong bill not to exceed $4,000
for South Coast Rail project
for
review.
the South Coast Realty Project Review. Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Railroad, not realty.
Correspondence.
I have a question on that.
It's
Are
too
we
late.
talking later than Thursday?
No, I would like to see it before Thursday.
Because
Because
Gail probably has
Friday
Friday off.
morning,
I have this Friday,
Headed
off,
north.
not next week.
Well, you can just stop by and
well, no, I know I can, but
No,
I
no,
mean,
no, the
if it
thing
comes in
is-
no
What is
time
Thursday?
Friday, well,
Yes,
we're not
so
open.
if we can get the bill in
Gail's
by
not even here.
at least the end of the week,
Next week, Oh, this week?
This week.
Well, I'll tell her to bring it
Because
over.
I'd like to have it signed, everything signed by Wednesday,
Okay,
because we're
good,
starting to
good.
post things out by the,
Sure, oh,
The
that's right.
28th.
Yeah,
But I mean,
that's
even
right.
if it doesn't, as long as 3 people sign it, it's official.
Right.
right, so I can get it up.
So you three need to get in here and sign, because I'm haying.
All right, this is correspondence also. Read that tonight.
Paul, you read this. Read that into the record.
All right, okay.
Lakeville, Mass.
Somebody sending out for,
No, that just came in this week, so I thought, let you guys know that it's here to be reviewed.
What are they? Oh, they must be doing,
Gate-
they must be working at the
Gateway
nursery.
Commons?
The nursery.
Nursery.
Why are they sending it to us?
Because they filed an environmental notification form because of the size of the project. And you're supposed to send copies to neighboring community. Ooh,
Okay.
oh, I forgot that. Ooh. They're supposed to send it to all the neighboring communities, both planning and conservation,
Okay.
because of the size of the project.
Well, that would make sense
And
as
then
to
we
why
can send a
SciTech's
comment.
involved. Because they did the original stuff on that. Can't wait to show a line there, because I'd love to see that line today. Keep that out, I'll look at that after. All right. Mrs. Gail Santos, Raynham Conservation Commission, Raynham Town Hall, 558 South Main Street, Raynham, Mass. Wallace, 377 Orchard Street. Wallace?
Yep,
Is that Peachy?
no.
this is Wallace, they've been doing a project out there for a
That's
while
the
now.
pool, the
And
rear,
he's been giving us updates.
it's the rear
so
lot.
Okay.
They did the pool. the
Patio
wall.
is installed. All that is left to do is the fencing. Calling for an as-built completed this week, and we'll contact you to schedule a meeting to close out the order of conditions when I receive it. Wow.
That request came in today.
This one?
Yep.
Oh, crap. Why is it even?
Okay. Hello, Gail. We recently purchased the home and property at 335 Hall Street in Raynham.
That's the one you talked to me about.
We're writing to request approval to clear our land so that we can keep our miniature horses there. The property consists of 4.6 acres.
Where the old driving
We would like to
is.
clear most of the living trees around the edges and some healthy large trees for aesthetics, shade, and windbreak.
Here's what I-
Please advise us of the next steps in the process.
Because this is.
oh, no,
Azu.
R4.
It's at least an RDA.
That's what I was saying, at least an RDA.
Yeah.
Attleboro Rotary. Driving theory.
It's 4.6 acres. They're not a registered farmer
And
or
once
anything.
again, if you look at the, I don't
why
think
we
there
have
was
it,
a house
it's not
on
Raynham.
that piece of property, was there?
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Matt Geo, so we're gonna have to get something to,
It's becoming,
it's a big piece
Yeah,
of property with
Yeah.
no,
I would probably, just even based on what we have here, you're gonna want a notice of intent, because they're saying they wanna clear the 4.6 acres.
That's, well, I don't read it again. I think it said the perimeter, but
No, it says, we are writing to request approval to clear our land so that we can keep our miniature horses here. The property consists of 4.6 acres. We would like to clear most of it,
okay.
leaving trees around the edges.
So that's definitely a notice,
Yeah,
a notice of
yeah, you don't
intent.
want, that's too much for an idea, you
Okay,
need a
so
notice of intent. Yeah.
Raynham Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing Wednesday, June 27, 2012, Raynham Veterans Memorial Town Hall to consider a petition number 873 Barlow Signs on behalf of Linear Retail, Raynham, Mass. For a request for a variance to the zoning bylaws, blah, 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 to put up a sign at 325 New State Highway. Board of Appeals. For George and Dimitriola Petropoulos. I did pretty good with that. Variance for the 150-foot frontage. Billions of Gallons a Year campaign. Water Wisdom, Mass Congress of Lakes and Ponds Association. The Wildlands Trust folder.
Okay, the only other correspondence we got was from the selectmen, that Kevin Morera has been appointed to the Conservation Commission
Okay.
for 2 years.
He's gonna get sworn in.
Yep, he's gotta be sworn in, so I don't know if he's been sworn in yet, or if he's gonna do it when he gets back from his, remember, he was saying that he was going away for 2
No,
weeks.
he has an obligation.
So,
Service.
let you know. Okay,
Discuss any files?
yep, pretty good with that one.
Kevin's appointed. Informal.
I don't know if you wanna do informal now, or do you wanna take care of, 90 Crimson? It's up to you. What would you like to do?
90 Crimson is also part of informal.
Yeah, how do you like that?
So whatever you say, boss.
90 Crimson.
I went out there, everything looks good. I would recommend, the only question we have, Azu,
Yep,
is it a full COC or partial?
It will be,
this is the request, and the request has that there.
Because it's a pool package.
But that would be completely
Separate.
separate. He has a separate notice of intent
for
on that.
that one.
Yeah.
We're
Right.
only giving them a certificate for the old one.
The old building of the house and the
Right.
work.
Right, so is complete certificate?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because the new work,
Okay.
well, we just wanna make sure though that we have the new order recorded. Do we have
Yes,
the
we do
proof
have-
of recorded?
Yes.
Then this can be signed up, because
Okay.
that was the whole idea, that we're not gonna start the new work until they finish the old one.
Yep.
And they've done it, so, yeah,
All right,
so that will keep the paperwork
So I'd make a
straight.
motion, we issue a certificate of compliance for 90 Crimson.
and
Well, spell
File
out the
number.
file number.
File number 269-00617.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I also have it all ready to go, so if you just sign it, please.
She's kind of efficient tonight.
She always is.
Got a date?
Ah. Okay, so that'll be ready for him. How's that work?
Hopefully I'll have it ready by you tomorrow. Do you wanna pick it up? Do you want me to mail it to you? I will mail it. Yep.
Very
Okay,
good. All
you're all
set.
set?
And just, for when I do start the new project, just it's a notice to you guys saying that we plan to start, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
You actually, have you got the pool permit yet, or?
No, I haven't done any of that, that's
So that'll have to come back to us too.
correct, and you sign off on that, correct?
Yeah.
Saying that everything's been approved.
But you've already filed, you did all the filing, right?
Yeah, he already has
All-
another
all-
condition.
He has the order of conditions. What
okay.
you're gonna get is you're probably gonna get a building permit, full building permit from the building department.
Yep.
And then you come back to us and then you
you
can sign it.
off on the building so they can issue it.
Yes.
Is there any place on the building
Yes.
permit for him to write his DEP file number?
On the building permit, I
I know there's a spot for.
No, they have a section for remark, so we'll sign off based on order of conditions issued under this file number. You can write it actually anywhere on the.
Yeah, I
on
was
that
just
page.
This
hoping
next
that
to
he
this-
could put the DEP file number
No,
on it
but we
for
can
us.
write it on,
yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
We can do it. I know.
There's a spot for, I think when I originally went to the building department, they said, they need something from you anyway.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so when we sign,
Yeah,
you
the
can
only
put a
thing I
note.
was hoping was if he put the file number down, when she goes to those big filing cabinets, she can just go to that number instead of having to look it up again, that's all.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
All right,
I
thank
know
you.
how she feels about those things. Okay. Other informal issuance of order of conditions for GB Sons Construction Company, South Street East, map 17, parcel 145A, DEP file number SE 269-0885.
This one, it's got this, standard conditions and conditions that are due.
Okay. All we did was vote to close the hearing, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
So now,
Okay,
what-
so that being said,
Timeout.
let me finish, you said that being said.
Go ahead.
I am going to recuse myself from this discussion right now and pass all of it to David, because there's still a quorum without me,
Yeah.
okay? How's that?
You stole his thunder, that's,
No,
no,
another question is, I was present at the first hearing on it. I was not present at the second hearing on it. So, do I sign or not?
yeah, you see, that.
You
rule-
haven't voted on an answer
that-
yet.
That rule, you're right, and that rule actually pertain mostly to special permits. Like with the special permit granting authority, which I believe here is the
Board of Appeals.
Board of Appeals, that requires either a supermajority.
Okay.
Okay, well, this already been adjudicated, and all you need to do as any member of the board now is to be comfortable that you have considered all the facts. You're no longer required to be present at every meeting,
Okay.
because you can read up on, based on what you've seen before.
Yeah, no,
And
I
that
mean,
is-
I read the minutes from
Yeah,
last meeting.
and that's more
everything.
than adequate.
Okay, I
That
just
you
wanted
ju-
to
No,
make
the
sure we cover
requirement
bases.
is that, the requirement is that you are well informed about what's going on.
Gotcha. All right, I need a motion for DEP file 2690885.
I'll make that motion for the issuance of a order of conditions for DEP file SE 2690885.
Okay, motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
And, well, you probably wanna read that you're given standard condition and the special conditions that you're given.
Yeah, read this special.
Read the special conditions?
Right, say that we vote to issue the standard order conditions, including the following special conditions. And then, because the special conditions are
including the
are
conditions.
specific
Right
to the,
there.
Okay, yep. All right, motion been made and seconded to approve,
First one.
map 17, parcel 145A, DEP number SE 269-0885 with our standard order of conditions and special conditions. All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Do you want to-
Unanimous.
yeah,
You should read what the
Read the
special.
special
If you wanna read them,
Read
yeah,
them
fine.
into-
See
Read
the,
them into the
To the
record.
tab,
the tab,
that's the page.
Okay, you wanna read them all right in?
yeah.
just the special ones.
Okay. All right, for the record, prior to the start of the lot development work, the proposed wetland replication area shall be excavated to the elevation that would provide for water retention. Following the excavation work, organic soil shall be introduced into the area in a manner that would produce pit and mounding topographical for the water retention. Vegetation from the area to be filled shall be transplanted to the replication area. Wetland species from nursery stock shall be planted and supplement the transplanted native species. Replication work shall be supervised and monitored by the qualified wetland biologist. Unsuccessful plants shall be replaced promptly. The replication work shall achieve a 75% success rate within the first growing season following the replication work. The replication work would be monitored for a minimum of 2 growing seasons before the Conservation Commission may review and consider a request for an issue of compliance. The permanent easement for the maintenance access to repair the drainage pipe shall be recorded with the proper chain of title along with the easement plan suitable for recording at the Registry of Deed. The replication wetland area shall be protected at all times against erosion and sediment damage. The drain pipe shall be maintained free of debris and other obstructionable material in order to ensure continued free flow of stormwater runoff.
Is it the same for both?
Yeah, the other one
Yes.
had the manhole. It's the same for both, except that the one will not change in direction, needs a transition manhole. So we spec that. There's a couple of typos that I need to, it says within, it just says with.
Okay.
It should be within, so I'm gonna,
Fix
before
that.
we leave, let me.
Yep, and I can redo it.
Okay, so that one's all set, so now you're gonna move on to the next one?
I probably wanna, make a note that you voted present, that Mr. Bill didn't,
For the record, Mr. Smith voted present
and did not
in
participate in
did
the
not
issuance.
participation of issuing of the conditions. All right, next one is an order of conditions for South Street East, map 17, parcel 146A, DEP number SE 2690886.
Right off the bat, I'll abstain from this one too.
I will
Make a
make
motion.
a motion to accept that with the standard order of conditions plus the special conditions to be noted.
Okay. Motion been made and seconded to approve DEP file number SE 269-0886 with special conditions. All in favor?
You can-
I'll read it
Aye.
afterwards, yeah.
Yes. Bill votes yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Yes, unanimous, and for the record, I'll read in the special conditions.
It wouldn't be unanimous because Mr.
Mr. Smith, it's unanimous for the three.
So it's
Three and present. Prior to the start of the lot development work, the proposed wetland replication area shall be excavated to the elevation that would provide water retention. Following the excavation work, organic soil shall be introduced into the area in a manner that would provide pit and mounding topographically for water retention. Vegetation from the area shall be transplanted to the replication area. Wetland species from the nursery stock shall be planted to supplement the transplanted native species. The replication work shall be supervised and monitored by the qualified wetlands biologist. Any unsuccessful planting shall be replaced promptly. The replication work shall achieve at least 75% success rate within the first growing season following the replication work. The replication work will be monitored for a minimum of 2 growing seasons before the Conservation Commission may review and consider any request for an issuance of compliance. The permanent easement for the maintenance and access and repair of the drainage pipe shall be recorded within the property chain of the title along with the easement plan suitable for the recording at the registry of deed. The replicated wetland area shall be protected at all times against erosion and sediment damage. The drainage pipe shall be maintained free of debris and other obstructionable material in order to ensure continuous flow of stormwater runoff. A transition manhole shall be installed within the drain pipe at a location of wetland flag 6WH and WH in order to provide for cleaning access.
Am I reading that again? I didn't.
No.
I think, all right, that has read.
And with that, I'll turn it back over to Bill.
Okay, we'll move into the formal. We have the continued ANRAD for the South Coast Rail was continued to tonight. Can you step up to that microphone?
Should we do a reading?
We don't have to because it's continued.
Oh, it's continued, okay.
You're luckier than I was when I had to read. State your name for the record.
I'm Christopher Wagner from VHB, representing Mass DOT, the project proponent.
Okay. I know that The review work has not been completed at this point. We
Right.
are still waiting for some financial guy to sign off on the money so that we can get it done.
Okay. I did get your voicemail that said that you had some questions, so
Yeah.
you wanted my presence here anyway, even though. my
Right,
heart's not
you
done.
question about, piggybacking off of what Mr. Smith just said, is that, logistically, because the contract, it is set up as a contract between the town and MassDOT, and it is supposed to run through June 30. We only received, the contract.
Of 2012?
Yeah, okay, so, the problem with that is, we only received the authorization to expend the funds for reviewing the line, but that was only 2 weeks ago. Okay, we've gone through like halfway, and, our town accountant has advised us that either we receive the funds and expend the funds by June 30, or
Send them back.
it's gonna be sent back. So, looking at what we have for time frame, unless the check arrives from MassDOT next week, we need MassDOT to extend the contract to July 31st.
Let me just ask, you said that you're about halfway through,
Walking through, right.
so you're halfway through with the review.
Walking the line. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we already reviewed all the paperwork. The review of the paperwork is all done.
So the field review is about half done.
That's correct.
Okay, and so you
So
need,
if they finish and we don't get a check, we're up the creek. No, they're up the creek,
Yeah,
because
that's the.
if you finish the review and who doesn't get a check? You,
town.
if the town doesn't get the
Yeah.
check,
It will have been
people
work-
reviewing it,
yeah,
we're up the creek.
okay, so you
We had to
need,
beg so that we could have Azu sit here tonight, because they didn't wanna give us the money to pay him to be here tonight.
okay, this is, well, obviously, these are all things that were set in motion long before my time, but, so you need the check
We need
from
an
Mass DOT,
We need that check,
Before June 30.
and is it a check for the entire contract amount?
That's
that's
correct.
what it's supposed to be.
Because it's already been billed to them.
So there has been no transfer of any money at all?
No.
Nothing, we've
Okay.
gotten nothing.
Okay,
Supposedly, the check has been cut,
Yeah.
and
The best thing to do would be an extension.
You're right.
definitely.
At this point in time,
At
at
this
least
point in
get an
time.
extension
for 30
from
days.
MassDOT, saying that the contract is extended to
Until-
July 31st.
Yeah,
Because then that will give them I don't know how the wheels of government move at the state.
otherwise, you
Really
technically
slow.
need to actually expend all those funds in the next 10 days,
Right.
otherwise.
Or otherwise,
Finish the
project. There is no
get the
extension.
money to us and then we can move mountains.
hopefully.
Okay.
It has to be in by, again, even the check is gonna have to be in by Tuesday, Wednesday at the
Yeah.
latest.
in order to get it all
'Cause they're-
filed.
Because we're at the end of the
The
fiscal year.
town's closing out their fiscal budget, so it's getting very tight in time. Like you said, an extension would be the simplest and easiest thing to do.
Right now, so that they work out how they're gonna send the money. Because once the town closes out the books and the contract, outstanding contract says it's June 30, the town can't even, if they get the money July 2nd, can't spend that money, they have to return it.
But if there is an extension.
That's right, then they
it's
can
okay.
expend
Then
the
we have
funds.
30 more days.
And definitely it has to be something, definitely in writing.
Yeah. I will admit that I, am not in control of any of the financial,
Oh,
But
arrangements,
since
but-
you're representing them, you can right now
Exactly.
extend it for 30 days.
You'll shoot the messenger.
Unemployment will get you at least another 2 years.
I will definitely bring this to the attention of who it needs to be brought to the attention of.
Yeah, because you don't really know, right?
I mean, I
You know,
know,
that there's a food chain,
yeah, there's not too many links though to sort of
Okay.
get it to someone who, at least
who
knows
has the
the,
check?
at least knows
Or
the
where is
answer
the check?
of whether or not,
We,
Well, according to Ms. Fox, it's with the chief financial somebody at MassDOT.
yeah,
okay. And so, but there have been, already you said that there was some sort of discussion that there is a check.
there is,
Right,
yeah.
that's right.
There is a check.
It hasn't
But it's
been
mo-
released.
Right, but it's moving through MassDOT,
We don't know why it hasn't been
right?
released.
They keep sending it by
It's stuck on 495 in traffic somewhere.
Yeah, that's where I was.
But it's getting very close to the end of the fiscal year,
Yeah,
so.
okay.
Up there.
Well, from the field perspective, since I'm here,
Mhm.
besides this issue, is there anything else that,
Well, the end of, where the road crosses 495,
mhm,
you gotta look at that area for vulnerable pools. And
Mhm.
part of the problem that we waited, because it's really best to be assessed in April.
mhm,
But, you know, we didn't wanna kind of get people in spending too much time. You can still make an assessment.
mhm,
So I would like you guys to kind of look at that area again. But the other thing that we want to also make clear is that we're not going to be making any assessment as to bordering land subject to flooding,
right, okay.
because that is done by elevation.
And we
that-
don't have any other information that's.
Yeah, that is done by elevation, so so whatever ORAD, the
Mhm.
commission issues, it will strictly spell out the fact that BLSF is not being determined.
Yep,
And that is still subject to determination
mhm.
when you do a proper topographic survey. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, yeah,
And-
yeah, and this issue is, yeah, this was a
Okay.
similar issue in a couple other
And then
municipalities.
the other thing we wanna convey is that the resources that we're reviewing
Mhm.
is within the right of way.
Yes,
Anything outside the right of way that is within jurisdiction, it's there, but we're not offering an opinion because our NRAD is specific to the
the
right of way.
right of way, yep,
All
yep,
right? So those three items.
okay.
So we have basically three locations where potential vernal pools. I don't see them certified in any of the state GIS
Mhm.
or natural heritage. None
Mhm.
of those. And the other thing too is an area that is mapped as a priority habitat. It is what it is. We're not gonna say it is not, or you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Oh, yeah,
We're not
right.
gonna make any of those findings.
Right, right.
Anybody else have any more questions? You have any more questions?
Not for the commission, no.
When is our next meeting?
July 11th?
July 11th?
So the best thing, Mr. Chairman, is actually to get an extension on the contract to July 30.
Yep.
If,
We need to have that.
if we get paid, so we can pay our consultant,
Right.
will we be able to continue this to July 11th?
Well, but he can request he can right now request a continuation.
But
But
I'm
if we're gonna-
asking you if there's any possibility that this would be ready to come in front of us on July 11th?
Yeah, it
Or
could
do
be.
we need to go into our August meeting?
It could be, at least if either we get paid or get an extension, then we could. So
So,
one of those have to happen in the next week.
what, we could continue to July 11th, and if it's looking like it's not going to happen, I can, or someone from our office can request a continuance through to August, at that, you know,
Right.
before the, but it'd be better to continue it to a date certain now.
Right, so 11.
That's what I'm,
Yeah.
yeah. I'd like to try for the 11th.
Yeah,
Hopefully, everything works out. If it doesn't,
right, if it doesn't, we
then
can,
you should be here anyway, so we can scold you because it didn't.
But, and on that note then,
If it
if
doesn't,
they have to go to an extension of contract,
oh, God.
that should probably then be.
Continue it to
July.
July.
No, to August 30. For the simple reason that
Yes.
if we continue to July 11th.
Yes.
And it's not done, but the contract is only extended to July 30, then we're gonna be back to, oh gee, we need a contract
So
extension.
we have to go to July 11th, is what you're saying?
No, the contract has to be
Contract
extended till
itself,
at
the-
least the end of,
August.
Yeah,
So
because-
we need a 60 or 90
yeah,
day
exactly, I
extension.
mean.
I would
Yeah.
even say the end of September.
Right,
Let's do a 90-day extension
I mean, it doesn't.
on the contract.
on the
the contract.
contract, and that gives us time
I mean,
for,
it's only changing the time frame. That's the
Exactly.
only change
Right.
that's being, that's on the
That's
table.
important. So the contract, our term should be extended to September 30, 2012.
That would be,
And I mean, I would think that the financial piece, people at MassDOT would understand that, because the government's fiscal year runs out June thirtieth
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So they're no different than town, they have to have books closed and everything in line, so it makes sense to extend it.
Yeah, but the legislature always can give a stopgap measure and give themselves an extension. We can't.
I'm just thinking of a, logistical scenario of if, for whatever reason, Mass DOT cannot or is unable or is unwilling to do that extension and instead issues the check for you guys for, for next week and says, no, definitely June 30th, what can we do with that?
Oh, no, we can build that out and then just issue the decision.
Okay,
Issue the decision, well, we can.
July 11th.
Yeah, issue the
Okay.
decision July 11th.
okay.
Our big concern is just the paying for
Oh, yeah,
the
right.
consulting, you know what I mean?
Well, we, not
The
necessarily
town
issue,
doesn't- the
it-
town
not
doesn't wanna
necessarily
get stuck
issue,
with the bill.
not necessarily issue a finding on July 11th, but close it out, and then we have 21 days to,
Right.
yeah.
To make it, yes.
but my biggest concern with that contract is the way it's written. Does the work have to be done by July 30th?
Correct.
June 30th.
June 30.
30th.
That's correct.
It has to be done.
Right,
Okay,
that's the term. I mean,
Okay.
the state gives you a contract
okay.
that says you have to perform
Okay.
within that period.
All right.
If you don't perform within that period, they don't pay you.
Okay.
And it's feasible that it can be done by June 30th.
Oh, it is, but now, in terms, it can be done, at least the field work, the reviews. The only issue then is the commission, because it's waited this long, the commission physically will not be able to conclude its hearing process by June 30. It's not gonna happen.
No.
So,
Are we gonna be getting a written report from the consultant?
and myself,
Okay, are
Right.
we gonna get a written report, or are they gonna be present for the meeting?
written report.
Okay, so
We
we
don't
can
want-
be done with them. And you can handle
Right.
any questions.
That's
So
correct.
If it does go that way, there's. a
We
way
can be
forward.
ready to
Okay.
go.
The smartest thing is to do the extension.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely.
There's a
the
lot of
sound.
work
Less
to do.
complicated.
Yeah.
In 10 days.
Not extension of the hearing,
No.
but extension of the contract,
Yeah,
Right,
Okay,
understood.
all right.
September 30.
so go call the governor.
I got one speed dial.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's a slush fund somewhere. We may already know this, but who is the contractor, the consultant?
Myself.
Okay.
And Nova Armstrong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they worked in another town as well. Okay. And have they already done some work as well?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay,
Correct.
all right.
They're all out there together.
We're just not giving out what we did.
And thank you, I
So
did
you're-
get your email with the maps, that was great, thank you.
That was actually very helpful.
Yes, very good.
It was very difficult carrying those 42-inch poles.
Yeah.
You know, especially walking through the
This
woods.
is a lot better.
Yeah.
So with that, he is requesting an extension,
I am requesting an extension to July 11th.
11th.
Continuation of the hearing.
Continuation, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Do
continuation.
you need to fill out a form for that?
Yeah. Or we just kind of write your request to continue and scribble it on a piece of paper.
I think she has specialized forms.
I can find
It may not be state approved, but this is a local thing. We overrule.
Yeah,
Alright.
find it.
All right, if you could just fill one of these out. You need my glasses.
Can I borrow a pen now?
$50 a minute.
There's one in there's one in your hand. by
Right
the way.
fast.
No,
Right
that's a
fast,
pencil.
Christopher.
Oh, it's a pencil.
Okay, so we're all set with this? We're gonna continue to, we have a motion to continue this to July 11th.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's continued. Do you have anything else?
I don't. Thank
Okay.
you.
We'll go back to other informal business. Or do we wanna? How do we feel about the wetland bylaw tonight? Do you wanna go through the other stuff and then move on to the bylaw?
So it'll be,
Today,
the 20th.
Huh?
So it'll be a minute 75 for the
Didn't bring
intent.
any notes.
A minute 75 times 50.
Good stuff.
And
Very
then 50 for 1 minute for questions
Maybe
asked.
we'll have a new contract.
thank you.
Thanks.
No, I don't have it.
Okay.
Okay, I remembered to come tonight, okay.
That's right, we
She's been sending you emails every day.
No one said anything.
That's right.
I had to get directions to
Okay,
get
so
here.
everybody wants to continue do we have a motion to continue the public hearing for the Raynham Conservation Commission proposed bylaw, wetland protection bylaws and regulations? Do we wanna continue that to,
Well, what I will suggest at this point is,
we need to
if
do
you
it?
really wanna do it, then you really gotta read it. You really gotta prepare it, send me email, questions or whatever, you know, cause this is what we did in Bridgewater too. It just keeps, everybody says, well, we wanna do it.
If we're gonna
But
get it
then
on the
everybody
town.
says, well, oh, I didn't get a chance to read it, you know,
Does,
so.
I forgot all about it.
does everyone
so-
have what Azu said? Okay, and does everybody have our old policies? Okay, cause I did make copies of everything
Yeah,
up for everybody.
so kind of look at it,
And make
develop some
notes.
questions or comments, you know, and
Does
then,
it make sense to do just a meeting, just on that?
Yeah,
yeah, that would make
Instead of
sense.
trying to combine it
I agree with that,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Anybody wants
since
it?
we've only got one meeting next month, maybe we schedule
I told you I'm good.
a second meeting, just to do that.
Yeah, either that or wait until you go back to 2 meetings, and then the month that you have 2 meetings, schedule nothing else.
Right.
But that-
The
I'm
thing about
impressed.
that is if we go to that point, we're gonna run out of time if we're
For
gonna
the
get
town
it on
meeting.
for November.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So,
I
I'll
think
be-
we all have wish lists,
That's-
and then I think there's also reality of what will pass and what won't pass. Been here, done this. So, I think that's the biggest problem, is trying to get over those stumbling blocks of, I mean, there's a lot of good. There's probably more good that can be done than bad. But it's getting it past town meeting floor, so we also have to remember that there are people who are gonna say, not a chance. I will tell you, let's just talk about it for a few minutes, so everybody
Yeah.
knows where everybody stands. I will tell you that in '99, I would've said no 25-foot, no touch zone. In 2005, I would've said no 25-foot, no touch zone. Over the years, I've only found one project that I can remember that would have actually not been allowed to proceed if there had been a 25-foot no touch zone. So at this point, I would get up on town meeting floor if this bylaw included a 25-foot no touch zone and spit that out just that way, because there would be exemptions available to that. I mean, I don't wanna use this so that Dave has 5 acres and he wants to put his kid's house, build a house in the back of the land. I don't want them to lose a house lot because of a 25-foot no-touch zone. I just don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, but
But you're not making it a zoning. That's what you need to communicate. Because anytime people hear setback, okay?
Correct.
When people hear setback, it's associated with zoning. And therefore, they think, I have to go to zoning board of appeals.
so that,
No.
I mean, that's a
So-
bad reference.
Right, so you're gonna talk about it is 25 feet, no disturbance zone. And then the established criteria under which the commission may allow work, and then spell out the criteria for allowing work in the no disturbance zone. And then your preamble in the reason, and then you give reasons to the town people why you think that this setback is necessary, okay? What you probably wanna do is do a two-tier. One will be the bylaw. The bylaw is simply the townspeople approving a bylaw that gives the local conservation commission the powers to promulgate local regulations to regulate projects. So the 25 feet doesn't even need to be in the bylaw.
No, you just have those words in there, and that encompasses any type of layout that we put in.
Yeah, for example, the natural heritage typically reviews projects, and they say if the project is 50 feet away from the habitat, they believe it is satisfactory. Now, you will not go anywhere in 301 the state legislation that establishes that agency. You're not gonna see anywhere, it just gives them the power, the statutory authority, and 130-140 just gives them the power to come up with regulations. Okay, so your regulation, which will be something that you develop as under the authority of the bylaw, then can be the 25-feet buffer zone, so that people are not looking at it as a zoning. When you hear bylaws and establishing a distance in the bylaw, people see it as zoning, and they don't like that, and for obvious reasons. But if it's a regulatory protective zone, then it says that the local conservation commission has the authority to approve that, just like, for example, the planning board, right? The planning board establishes how wide a road is gonna be. You don't see anything in the bylaws that talk about the width of a roadway.
No.
The enabling legislation is
Gives
much
them the
general law.
authority.
So, exactly. Give them authority to promulgate regulations for governing subdivisions. The idea of regulations is that you have rules so that it's fair, so that people know that there are standards by which you regulate and approve projects.
And it's no different than the correspondence we just read about somebody going before the Board of Appeals to do only 100-foot frontage as opposed to 150. You may have the regulation in there, but you also, under that regulation, have the authority to give exemption
That's
to
correct.
the way it's,
Right.
the way the rules that you lay out.
That's right. So that's what I'm saying. So the 25 feet doesn't even have to come in the bylaw.
No.
The problem you're gonna find from some of the people in town, the ones who are gonna be the loud ones that are gonna
The
fight against
contractors.
it. Contractors, landowners, whatever, is that they voted it down before. Okay? Because they won't give a balloon authority. So somewhere in there has to be that it's not just this board, because it may not be us.
Right,
It may be,
4 to 5 different people, yeah.
yeah, with totally different views.
Yeah, but that's,
But that would be.
that goes for any board in government.
That's correct.
Any board in government changes, and under the open meeting law, it gives citizens the right to, further on down the road, to change, realign it, however you want to call it, any type of rules or regulations that the town sets forward.
Right, and those regulations that you develop under the authority of the bylaw, you have to explain to the townspeople that those cannot be adopted without a public hearing, anywhere. You cannot promulgate regulations without a public hearing. So they will still have the ability to come to your meeting and say, no, we don't want that. And then you have to tell them why you want to have that regulation. So having an authority under the bylaw does not say now the Conservation Commission has a free will to go out there and make regulations that the people cannot voice their opinions on. No.
And I just gotta say about about the 25 no touch, which we've been kinda hearing to, and 99% of the people that I've come across have adhered to it with no problem.
Right.
The town of Raynham has changed in the last 15 years, and the biggest change to the town of Raynham has been sewage. And because of sewage,
You've built
we've
houses.
taken a lot of our land that has acted as the sponge to prevent flooding, to prevent erosion and stuff like that. You've taken that away
We've
because
plopped the house
that
everywhere.
land is now, you can stick a house there.
Because they don't have to have.
So
septic.
it's more important today to have that 25-foot no-touch around to prevent
Encroachment.
encroachment and flooding.
See, I understand exactly what you're saying. I just know from years gone by why it fails. I would rather go in and say that we want this, 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 and this. And this is why we want this, this is why we want this, this is why we want this. Because we, you know, the people aren't stupid. And they, at our town meeting, the 75 that show up or the 100 that show up always have a reason for being there. And to present them with, this is why we feel this is why we feel this, then we get them to give us the permission. I know how the people that I talk to are talking about it. And they'll vote it down if they don't like the way it's going. That's our problem. We have to find a way to make it work for us, but get past them.
Well, see, I wouldn't even cast it that way, because you are them.
But we're only
You
five.
are- Yeah, no, but you
Four,
don't,
five.
but you don't, all I'm saying is you don't wanna cast it in the way it works for you, and then get it past them.
When I say
Yeah,
for me,
yeah.
I mean
The board.
from conservation, from protecting the wetlands, from every reason, for the reason that we sit here, which a lot of people think that we're just a pain in the butt with no reason. And we're not.
But I think that most people want their property, I mean, it is in the Constitution of the United States, right? To pursue liberty and happiness. I mean, you have that, so, and you have the inalienable right to develop your property. I mean, the commission must understand that and recognize that people have the right to develop their property and use their land. So, but if you educate the people, you can't be afraid of introducing bylaws and regulations. I think I wasn't here then, but I do think that if you couch your proposed bylaws and regulations in a way that people see that it will actually enhance the value of their property and the value of the community itself and the purpose of protecting wetlands, they will go along with it.
And
But if they see it, no matter how you explain it, on the other hand, if they see it as a power grab, they will not go for it.
no, and I think we've done a very good job, this particular group, the group of people before me, we've done a very good job of balancing the need for the rights of people to develop their properties, but we've also been very good about looking at Raynham in an overall picture and protecting it for the future generations down the road.
Yes.
And that's, I think we've done an excellent job
Oh,
of balancing that.
Absolutely.
And that alone, to me, is a selling point that what we're asking for is nothing more than to give the town, make sure I want to word this right, to give the town the right to protect its interests.
Well, a good example, and that which you did not have before, and I mean, it's a project that went through the public hearing process, and that is a good example would be Performance Plus.
Absolutely,
Here's
that's the
a,
one.
here's a good example of a project that did not fit at a specific location. But because she did not have the local bylaw and regulations, DEP overturned us. And you know that
That's the
project
one.
did not properly fit there. But also, you can show a good example of how you balance the interest of people to use their land and yet protect the interest. For example, like the GB Sons that you just approved. You had an abutter that came and expressed concern about maintaining the drainage flow. And you have a condition, approval that allows the person to build their project, but at the same time, protect the interest of the abutter so that the water will continue to flow and that they don't have, that's the kind of things that if you document them and bring that in the forefront and explain to the people how you've come up with these recommendations to the townspeople so that it's not seen as an arbitrary.
It's not a negative, it's a positive.
It's not arbitrary,
Right.
but it's positive, overall positive. I think the town people will support it. You have to give people reasons for stuff, and not just, well, because we like it, or because we think it makes sense. You have to couch it, and that's why I keep hopping back to Performance Plus. They are gonna have a dog grooming business, then they're gonna have the dogs out there, go out there and do their business.
Above
Everybody,
ground septic system, 6 feet
pretty
from an
much,
intermittent stream.
right. So that is a very good example of why it is important to have a local
And
bylaw.
it gives, that alone, this bylaw would give us
The authority.
the authority as opposed to, because this is our hometown.
That's right,
This would give us the authority, not the Commonwealth.
right. Well, the Commonwealth would still have its authority.
Yeah.
But we
They'll still have the
overrule it.
authority,
Right.
but we have the,
They have, now you have an independent authority that can only be reviewed through the adjudicatory process vis-a-vis, they will be like we're going to the Superior Court of the Commonwealth, as opposed to somebody down in Lakeville overturning the commission. And because they have to look at it, not
Their
that,
rules.
yeah, DEP does not do a bad job. It's important too. You're not gonna go to the town no, you can't go to the town people and say, wow, we wanna stick it to DEP. No, they look at things too.
Yep.
Okay?
But they have their
But they
rules.
look at it from a regional perspective. And so you just have to make that distinction. You don't really wanna be out there pounding DEP as though that DEP does a bad job, because that's not the truth. That's not, it will not be a correct statement. But that you have.
It's a good foundation.
But, right,
just
but
wanna
you
make
have a
addition.
unique understanding and awareness of your community.
Should we be talking about a date to put aside specifically for this?
I think so. I think that'd be a good idea.
I mean, like,
Well, yeah, I mean, I have no problem with that, but
We gotta do it soon.
we have to, well, yeah, we have to do it
Well-
soon, but I think we have to do it based on when we have no vacation time. Azu.
Looking at me, Azu.
I was looking at Azu.
well,
Well, can it be done on a different night? I mean,
I don't have a problem with that.
you know,
Yeah, just, why don't you, look, everybody look at their schedule
That'd be
and
the,
Draw
say
some
in July, maybe set up cause all you really do need at this point is to post it. Okay, cause you already advertised it, right? So maybe take a look at, continue everything to July 11th. In the meantime, everybody looks at their schedule, for a night in July that you can do, so that on July 11th, you continue to that specific night. So that would be, instead of a second conservation meeting, it would be, it's a second, and another meeting in July, but specifically dedicated to hashing out this stuff.
Okay, everybody,
We're
like,
looking-
well, it's, Gail will send us a copy of what nights may be available.
And not vacation nights.
Yeah, what nights she may be available if she's,
Does she have to be?
Yes.
yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
You gotta have somebody to record all this. Make sure
Now, when do you have your meetings in Bridgewater?
Thursdays.
On Thursday,
Yeah,
first
keep
and
it, keep,
Thursday,
whatever we do, keep it as Wednesday.
as Wednesday?
Yeah, 'cause I'm tired of Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday already.
What about Friday and Saturday?
Friday night, stay
I can do Saturday.
Friday morning.
I know the last Wednesday in, July I'm available, so I'm
25th?
25th, yeah, that's
All
good
right,
for
I'll
me.
give
I
it
know
up.
That whole week. Oh, no, is that your vacation?
No, that's my vacation's the week before.
Yeah, so, and I'm gonna be away the week before also, unless we did it, the week right after the, wow.
I have no.
Then you start getting into
Now you're
August.
into August and we have our first Concom meeting.
Yeah, so someday that last week of
25th.
July is fine with me.
That's
but-
That's fine, the 25th's fine by me, I don't get a vacation.
I have no idea my work
Bill?
schedule, so I'll have to check.
So-
Okay.
Tentatively the 25th?
Yeah,
We just, well, I think we all need to be present.
Yes, yes.
So we probably be,
suppose we start it earlier,
I have no problem.
Yep.
how would that
Can
be?
do
I
that.
mean,
Like,
5.
well, 5 o'clock,
5 on the
4:30,
25th?
whatever.
I don't care if we come in at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever.
Well,
Yeah, I know, I don't know,
but I,
is 4:30 too early for you?
but I probably could,
5:30
in
is
July.
usually too early.
No, actually,
Oh, he's right there.
We're
no, 4:30
summertime,
would work. We're out of school, so
Yeah.
4:30 would work.
so
Okay,
30?
4:30 sound good?
4:30 on the 25th is a tentative, and everybody will come back and tell us how they feel.
We'll vote on that on the 11th. That's continue it now to
Till
the
the
We have a
11th.
motion to continue this hearing to July 11th.
Motion, yes. I'll make that motion.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's continued.
Because the reason is, we've already posted their meeting nights, right? So you don't wanna continue to the 25th from here, because we have not
No,
established that as a
Right.
meeting night.
Correct.
So you gotta do that first.
Okay. All right, back to our other informal business. Walmart 160 Broadway, update and procedures. I was out there last week on some certain date and some certain time.
I put the memo in the folder.
But when we go to Walmart, you need to check in. If you happen to go there and you just wanna check out the site, you need to check in at the trailer. And if you could just call into the office, give Gail just a, hey, I was there, everything looked good, or I saw this, or whatever. Just let her know when you were there, what time you were there,
Call, email, whatever you need.
just so we have a record, because they have a big records thing. So just so that we can follow through with our paperwork side of it. 51 Wampanoag Road.
We said that was all set.
Yeah.
They've taken care of everything, so that one's all set now.
So what was it?
They're good?
Well, there were cut a lot of trees and a bunch of stuff into the wetlands. And then there was a pond, right there, they were dumping stuff in.
Wampanoag?
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
It's
in the
different.
back, in the back of the house. You know, a wet area, it's not
Okay.
a pond like on White Street, not the same type of thing. But there's a wet area that water collects.
Azu went out there. I don't
Yeah.
know, you weren't here
Sent them
last
a
meeting.
letter.
No,
Azu went out, met with them.
That's correct.
I thought they did filling. That's the one that redid the front lawn with all the lawn.
And the
Right.
back lawn.
Right, so they pulled all that out.
They pulled out the fill, reloomed it, seeded it. Hay bales are
But
all
there's a
in
big
place.
cliff there, so I told them they could leave the rocks that kind of form, act like a retaining wall. Cause you pull that up, you're gonna get erosion going down. And then they put down a little bit of a pine bark mulch. And but they were not the only people working. Their neighbors who were doing stuff too.
Yeah,
But we wanted to get it seeded quick, so that we establish some
right.
erosion
So
control.
that's all good now.
Yeah,
That's all good.
How about,
Okay, how about 218 White Street?
So you watch, it was all done too.
All done, completed.
Okay,
oh,
Yeah, they were very responsive.
Yes, right
Very,
away.
very
good.
responsive, yeah.
okay, David Peachy, 291 Orchard Street. I drove by there today, and the logs are gone. The pile of wood chips is still on the
Yeah,
left side of the
still
house.
big, huge
pipe.
pile,
Hassan and
yeah.
I were talking about that.
And the pipe that he was supposed to take out, that was running drainage right into the pond, into the
Still
brook,
there.
is still there. And I really, really do believe that I'm not gonna get preachy, but sometimes that's who I am. And I know we have to, and I know we have to be politically correct, but I've never been known to be politically correct. No, we don't have to kneel there. But a good example I will give you is found in the book of Exodus. When God told Moses, go and tell Pharaoh to let my people go,
I'm in a meeting.
or I'm gonna judge you.
I'm in a meeting.
Pharaoh says, yeah.
That's okay.
And then God releases his judgment. And then Pharaoh says, no, you're not leaving. So basically, he was thumbing his nose until all his firstborn of the Egyptians were gone. Then he basically says, you Israel, Jewish guys, get out of here. I don't want to get any more judgment. So the moral of the story is this. Mr. Peachy has yesed this commission to death. You give him a foot, he takes 3 feet. And you really need to put down the boom because
Well,
he's
we
got
did,
a...
didn't we?
Yeah, we did, but he never find
The
it.
logs have, I think the logs have left since our last meeting.
Yeah, the logs are gone, I know that, but nothing
They're
else
gone.
has been done.
Yeah.
Nothing else is, we
They're
sent,
actually, they just moved, they moved from the river to
Yeah.
the yard.
no, they're gone.
Oh, they're gone now?
The driveway side, they were
Yeah.
there, there was a big pile, and the pile is gone. It was gone tonight, cause I looked specifically
You know,
tonight.
he's been given time. I mean, it's like the time for the notice of intent. He took him 6
Did we
months
send him a letter?
All right, so what's
to
our
do
next recourse?
did 6 months to do a notice of intent. Then he
We
does
sent
the
him-
notice of intent.
Yes.
You
we can
have
send
30
another-
days. It was specifically spelled out. You
Yes.
have 30 days to do it. 30 days, he didn't even get it started, and then that 30th day, he goes, oh yeah, I'm doing it. So I really do think that you need to, well, we sent him a letter,
We sent him a letter that gave him till when, the next meeting?
30 days from May 31st, so June 29 or something. So I really think that by June 11th, you would have had, July 11th, excuse me, you would have had more than another 30 days you've given him.
Yep.
And you really need to find him then,
Okay, July 12th, the letter says.
yeah. So,
Okay, can we read that?
Should
Did
we,
you get to read this letter? In an email?
I don't remember. Probably did, but
This was the last letter that was sent out.
Dear Mr. and Mrs. Peachy, please be advised that the time granted to you by the Raynham Conservation Commission for the completion of the work it ordered in its enforcement order and/or the order of conditions has expired. It is imperative that you no longer continue to delay the completion of the work ordered by the RCC. The patience of the RCC must not be deemed by you as a sign of its reluctance to exercise its full authority and powers to demand the compliance or impose civil and administrative fines and penalties. At its regularly scheduled meeting on June 6th, they unanimously voted to issue this letter directing you to adhere to its EO and OOC. Failure on your part to comply with the EO and OOC by July 12th, 2012 would not be looked upon lightly by the RCC, as it has exercised much restraint up to this date in imposing administrative and civil fines and penalties. Please do not take this matter lightly any longer. It is of your utmost interest to bring the matter to a proper closure once and for all. Signed by Azu.
so we've given him till the 12th of July then.
Yes.
Yes.
So we should
And
add,
they signed for it?
They did sign for it.
Okay, so when did they receive it?
What does that look like?
should we ask them,
14th.
send a letter to them, ask them to come before us?
well, you already did,
Well,
you gotta wait until the 12th to
Yeah.
say they didn't do the work.
I will,
And if they don't do the work on the 25th, that would be the only matter that you can include in the bylaw
For the
and the
agenda,
vote, yeah.
I will say that Mr. Thomas did come in again today. I was telling Isaac,
Yesterday.
yesterday. And he is upset that it's not getting done. He's very upset that the drain has not been taken care of. That's his biggest thing. I told Azo, he knows that those wood chips are not gonna be moved.
Yes,
Because
they are.
it's on his property, Thomas's property, and like Azu
Yeah.
said, the enforcement order is on Peachy's property.
Yeah.
That's
You can't
gonna be
really-
tough.
You can't really order Peachy to go on the other person's property. You gotta,
So
you
that's
gotta
gonna be
careful with
another
that.
whole issue.
So that's gonna be a civil matter.
It is civil.
It is a civil matter, okay, so, but, Mr. Thomas is,
What are our options as of July 12th?
July 11th, you're gonna know right away if he has already complied or not. And then on July 11th, you can take a vote to impose a fine authorizing myself or a member of the commission to go and do an inspection. Okay, and if that inspection reveals that he hasn't done what he's supposed to do, then the fine stays.
Okay,
Okay.
and
All right.
the fines are spelled out somewhere in the,
Yeah, $100 per day, and then you can go back to the original enforcement order.
Enforcement order, yeah.
okay, all right.
So that's where we're at with that.
Okay.
And at any point in time, does the town have the ability to put, like, lack of a better term, a mechanic's lien on the property?
No, because it's really not a tax. But the enforcement order will be on the property, so they will never be able to do anything with that property unless they clear that. So it will be.
So they'd never be able to sell the property
Right,
or
because it will be operating as an order of
Just like-
conditions.
conditions, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So. in
And
effect,
this
yeah.
property, we did do an enforcement order,
Right,
correct?
so yeah.
that's the EO, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, yes.
Well, sometimes we call them in and that's,
No, we
This-
actually
this
did
is
an enforcement
order and the.
No, that's, yeah. it's-
Order.
But he can sit on that enforcement order, he doesn't have to ever comply, he just won't sell the place, the same way Ontario Way, where they haven't done anything.
Yeah, but guess
And they
what?
continue to take trees down. I don't know
Right,
what
well,
the
they're
issue-
covered on agricultural and
They
they're.
finally did get their
Tree cutting
tree
plan.
cutting stuff.
Right,
They're,
but,
they're going way back.
right,
behind the
but when
church
they
and
went
everything.
for,
Yeah, they-
Bill,
They have like 40
when they
acres
went
there.
for a loan, right, they went on,
They
they
were
didn't
denied.
get it because
were
they didn't get
denied.
the certificate.
because they need a certificate of
And
compliance.
that which they don't get. They don't.
Yeah, and the whole thing with that property is the property's this big, and the order of conditions that was issued on this piece,
Yeah.
okay? Now, if their tree cutting comes into the piece that the order of conditions was issued on,
Right.
then that makes this piece not be in compliance.
subject
They can
to-
do whatever the tree cutting plan is back there under their farming,
Right.
but
The
if
state
that
took away our-
farming, if that farming comes over onto the piece that we issued it on, they're all done. And the DEP has said, you gotta go to Raynham for that.
Yeah.
So,
The other one you may wanna tell them about is Grant and Mellow too.
They continue.
Mellows,
They continue to cut trees.
have you been there?
Not in the last.
Any word?
No, but Miller started his work.
Almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
we
were-
did.
they
I
started
haven't been there for about a
clearing.
month,
Yeah,
but
he started his work, but Hall hasn't done anything.
Yeah, well, Mello had, when did they start their work? Just in the last few days?
He had come in
He
when
was,
they were,
I saw him last week and he hadn't started yet.
yeah, Mr. Miller, he told me he was getting started.
Yeah, he's
And
gonna
I
get
told him,
started.
Yeah. Unfortunately, on the Hall one, we allowed them to do a determination. And that determination is good for 3 years. We didn't spell out a time frame like we did with Peachy. The Peachy order of conditions
Right.
are usually good for 3 years, but in the order of conditions, the special that we put on Peachy says that this is the result of an enforcement order, and you must complete the work by date certain. Instead of, we didn't give them, we did not neglect the fact that the order of conditions can be interpreted as 3 year, valid for 3 years. And that was as a result of what we did on the Hall. The Hall, we forgot to put time frame.
Right, right.
And that was also an enforcement action.
I could have swore we put a date on it.
I could've sworn we at least talked about it.
It wasn't, never, it didn't go on the.
May have, but we never.
Yeah, it
was
didn't
never-
go on the, it didn't go on
Minutes
the,
or recorded,
determination.
But
So
how
they
long's
can
an,
come
how
back
long's an enforcement order good for?
forever, but you allow them to do a request for determination to address that enforcement order. And that determination is good for 3 years. So you go there, they say, well, we have 3 years.
We backed ourselves into a corner.
To fix the enforcement issue, right?
So,
That's why sometimes we just need to do the enforcement order
and stick with it.
and, you know,
Clean
No
that
more
up
nice
first,
guys.
clean that up first and,
Yeah. Well, I will tell you though, that this guy that came in, Crimson, kind of, just like Pamela Drive, Dominique, he's been very responsive. You know, done everything that we asked him to do. So-
he's almost ready to come back for a
Yeah.
COC.
So, I mean, you know, so sometimes, you know, that's why you can't pin everybody some
Yeah.
brush.
Right.
You know, because some people actually respect it.
And when it comes time for that COC, we'll do an inspection. Especially
one?
you,
which
Yep.
one?
Pamela Way.
for
Oh,
Pamela
Pamela
Way,
Way,
you
yeah.
go do the inspection.
Alright.
Where do you see the barn that they thought was gonna be a commercial garage?
Yeah,
All that wood that was stacked up out there, plain. It's absolutely beautiful inside that thing.
Because Dominique is doing, it's his house, it's
Oh,
his
it's
property, you know.
hand-built, I
Yeah,
mean, it is just.
yeah.
What else we have? We were supposed to meet with the fire chief on Friday after our meeting last at 407 Route 44 Dean Street. Azu couldn't make it. I met with him. My problem with this happening as an emergency, what do I wanna call it? For being cleaned up to be able to be used as an emergency boat ramp.
it's too
is-
steep.
No, the fire chief was happy with the slope, cause they just push it in anyways. What they wanted to do was to clean out a point that the kayak guy is using. Well, my problem is, the fire chief's coming to us, asking us, how do we do this? Are you working?
Important though.
Yeah, he knows.
Go
his
ahead,
ring-
continue.
You
I'm
don't even
listening.
have a
He
smartphone.
knows his ringtone.
The fire, we're looking at it from this public safety standpoint, how can we do this? Well, you got the kayak guy who's running a business, and he's using this same exact
Exterior, yeah.
spot. So I felt really uncomfortable with using the public safety to make it easier for a guy to operate his business. That's not fair, especially when there's no public access for anybody else.
See, I thought there was on, where's the winery, what street, that's Dean Street? No,
Church?
Church,
Street.
at Church Street Bridge. I thought there was a ramp going down to the river that they could use as launch.
The problem with that is, by the time they get over to 44 in their boat, the guy would be dead. It's a long ways downriver. That river is really
I
wide.
know it, I know it is.
We did find a piece of town property where they can actually access it. And it's town property that will remain town property. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They
no.
can get a fireboat in there. They didn't know that they could do it.
Do they,
So,
where's that?
off of 44. I really just don't want to say on TV, because I don't want it to become a public access kind of an area. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I get it.
So is the fire chief happy with that alternate plan?
He went and looked at it in the last couple of days, I believe.
I know what you mean.
very simple.
Yeah.
So, we've discussed, as when I discussed it, and it's just an update that I think we've moved away from getting in the middle of commercial guy using it for business. You know, I said, you wanna do this? You have to file all the paperwork,
Right.
just like anybody else would have to do. That's only right. You wanna put a boat ramp in on the Taunton River? You don't have to buckle up, cause it's gonna be, now with the Taunton River Wild and Scenic and, you know, all that designation and stuff, you're gonna have more than just us involved in something.
Now, where did they access before?
No, the Ware. The Ware's the only real boat ramp.
No, where did, there were trips that used to be sponsored by the kayak place.
Oh,
Where
it's
did
the same
they-
place.
Same place.
Same
They
place.
access without
But there's
permission?
But-
no, yeah, but there's no.
But that's a
boat ramp.
kayak, it's not,
It's hand carry.
You
yeah.
don't have to go in on a
They
trailer.
need
What
to
do they
go
get for a
down.
boat?
You just drag them in.
Raynham, just a little aluminum
Aluminum.
V-hull.
It's on a trailer and they have to back it in as opposed to.
Well,
kayak.
they actually, they unhook it from the truck, it's light enough,
Okay.
that four guys just roll it down the hill. And it was high tide, the issue is at low tide, you probably got 2-3 feet
Yeah, you do.
of
Okay,
water
all right,
change, so
yeah,
you need a
yeah.
place where you basically have a boat ramp.
You need that, yeah.
I can't say it.
Okay,
There's a moral to this story also.
yeah. Anything else? Where's Azu's daughter tonight? You didn't leave her in the car, because you got here early, she must be
No,
here.
well, school is done.
school.
School is done. My wife is done with work, so makes a big difference.
Ah,
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
do we have anything else for them? All in favor?
Aye.
So-
Imagine that, David made the motion to